It's Halloween night, October 31st, 2025. And college football fans, tonight's slate has something for everyone. We've got 3 games, 6 total picks, and a whole lot on the line as the season charges full speed toward November. This is that point in the season where every snap, every possession, and every late game decision starts to matter more than ever. So, stick around, because by the time this video ends, you'll know exactly where the smart money sits for each of these matchups. And hey, if you're new here, make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell turned on. We drop these breakdowns every single day so you can plan your bets before the lines shift. And if you're looking to take things up a notch, our Patreon link is down below. That's where you'll find access to exclusive single picks, same game parlays, and behind the scenes analysis we don't post publicly. Alright, let's get right into it. We start the night in the American Athletic Conference, where Memphis takes on Rice in what should be an intriguing test for a Tigers team that's quietly built one of the most consistent records in college football this season. Memphis enters this matchup at 7-1, both straight up and against the spread, while Rice sits right at an even 4-4. It's a contrast in direction, one team surging toward conference contention, the other trying to stay afloat after a stretch of tough losses. Memphis just cracked the top 25 in both the AP and coaches polls after taking down South Florida, and that recognition brings both confidence and a bit of pressure. They're now the ranked favorite on the road, a spot that's always dangerous, especially for teams not used to being hunted. Still, Memphis has been money against the number, covering in 7 of their 8 games this year, including 4 of 5 as double-digit favorites. Their lone stumble came in that 31-24 loss at UAB, where they were favored by 24. That's the kind of game that reminds you no matchup is automatic, especially late in the year. Defensively, Memphis has had some issues lately, giving up 26 or more points in 4 of their last 5 games. But they've stayed respectable against the run, allowing just about 130 rushing yards per game, which ranks around 50th nationally. That's an area they'll need to lean on tonight because Rice, as we've seen, loves to run the football. The Owls are coming off a dramatic 37-34 double overtime win over UConn as 10-point underdogs, a game that saw their ground game carry the load. But while the offense showed life, the defense continues to crumble. They've allowed at least 27 points in 3 straight games and surrendered a brutal 122 points across that span. That's roughly 40 points per game. Not exactly the kind of stat that inspires confidence heading into a matchup with a top 25 team. The over has cashed in 5 of their last 7, and that's largely because their defense just hasn't been able to get off the field. Now, when you put these two teams side by side, Memphis just has more balance and efficiency on both ends of the ball. They're capable of stretching the field vertically, and their offensive tempo tends to wear down defenses like Rice's that can't generate consistent stops. Even if there's a small risk of a letdown spot after their big emotional win over South Florida, the Tigers' structure and execution give them the edge. I'm taking Memphis to win and cover as the favorites. As for the total, I'm looking at another high-scoring outcome here. Memphis has scored at least 32 points in 6 of their 8 games, including a monster 55-point performance at Florida Atlantic earlier in the season. Rice's defense, meanwhile, ranks near the bottom nationally against both the run and the pass, and they've already been blown apart for 61 points in 1 of their recent games. On the flip side, Memphis isn't exactly a defensive juggernaut either. They've allowed 31 or more in 3 of their last 5. Rice's offense has been surprisingly productive, putting up 37 last week and 31 or more in 2 of their past 3 home games. Combine all of that, and you've got the recipe for points on both sides. Both teams can move the football, both have vulnerable defenses, and both have been playing fast-paced games. That's why the over is the call here. This one has shootout potential written all over it. Now let's move to the ACC, where 2 teams desperate for any kind of momentum square off, North Carolina versus Syracuse. This is one of those games that's less about playoff implications and more about pride. Both programs need a win in the worst way. North Carolina sits at 2-5, losers of 4 straight, while Syracuse hasn't fared much better, dropping 4 in a row of their own. Halloween night offers both a chance to stop the bleeding and maybe salvage a bit of the season. For North Carolina, things have gone off the rails fast. They rank 129th in total defense, near the bottom of the entire FBS, and 124th in scoring offense, managing just 18.3 points per game. Injuries have gutted this roster, and they've been forced to rely on young, untested players who simply aren't ready for the spotlight. The lack of explosive plays has been glaring. They rank dead last nationally with only 15 plays of 20-plus yards all season. Compare that to Syracuse, who has 41 of those plays and sits 27th in that category. That's the difference between a team that can flip the field in an instant and one that grinds for every yard. This one should be tight, physical, and probably pretty ugly. Neither team is playing well, but Syracuse does have the offensive edge. They've shown flashes of explosiveness that UNC simply hasn't, and they've looked slightly more cohesive, especially at home. That gives them the edge to finally end their losing streak. The pick here: Syracuse to win and cover as favorites. Now for the total. This one has under written all over it. North Carolina's defense, believe it or not, has started to settle in a bit. They've held their last 2 opponents to just 21 and 17 points, and they actually rank 5th nationally in red zone defense. They've also been generating pressure up front, which could spell trouble for Syracuse quarterback Collins, who's been prone to turnovers lately. If UNC can force a few mistakes and slow the tempo, they can keep it close. The problem is that their offense just can't cash in. The Tar Heels haven't scored more than 20 points against any FBS opponent this year and rank 116th in red zone conversion rate. Syracuse's offense hasn't been much better since losing its starting quarterback. They've averaged just 12 points per game since then. Put all that together, and you get a low-scoring, grind-it-out kind of game. Neither team has the firepower to turn this into a shootout. Under the total is the play. Finally, we head to Conference USA for Sam Houston State versus Louisiana Tech, and this one's fascinating in a very different way. The Bearkats are still searching for their first win of the season. They're 0-7 overall and 0-4 in conference play, and they're running out of time to turn things around. Louisiana Tech, meanwhile, comes off a heartbreaking 1-point overtime loss to Western Kentucky, but the Bulldogs actually showed plenty of positives in that game. They racked up 449 total yards, including 340 through the air, converted 10 of 19 third downs, and picked up 24 first downs. Their biggest issue was discipline. 9 penalties for 80 yards cost them dearly. But overall, that performance showed that their offense still has juice. Sam Houston deserves credit for continuing to fight. Against UT last week, they stayed competitive deep into the fourth quarter before fading late. They forced 2 turnovers, held UT to 3 of 11 on third downs, and showed flashes of improvement defensively. But the same issues persist: inconsistency and lack of scoring. They've put up 18 or fewer points in 3 of their last 4 games and have allowed at least 29 in every contest this year. That's a brutal combination. Louisiana Tech, on the other hand, can move the ball efficiently, especially through the air. Their quarterback play has been solid, and when they're in rhythm, they can light up the scoreboard. Against a defense like Sam Houston's, which has struggled all year, that's a mismatch waiting to happen. Louisiana Tech should control this one from start to finish. The pick: Louisiana Tech to win and cover as favorites. As for the total, there's a strong case for another over. The over has cashed in 4 of Sam Houston's last 5 games and in Louisiana Tech's last 2. The Bearkats average around 17 points per game, and they throw the ball on roughly 52% of their plays, but their passing efficiency ranks just 111th in the country. Louisiana Tech's defense is even worse against the pass, ranking 112th, so expect both sides to have their chances to move the ball. The Bulldogs average 25 points per game and lean on a balanced offense that runs the ball nearly 60% of the time. Against a defense allowing close to 39 points per game, those drives should end in points. Sam Houston is one of only 2 winless FBS teams, the other being UMass, and they've allowed at least 29 points in every single game, including 35 or more in 6 of 7. Louisiana Tech, despite dropping their last 2, has scored 27 or more in 4 of their past 5. When you put those numbers together, it's clear why the over keeps hitting. The call here is simple: over the projected total. That wraps up tonight's Halloween slate. 3 games, 6 total picks, and plenty of chances to cash in before November kicks off. If there's another game you want us to break down, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know which side you're on for these picks. Whether you agree or disagree, I want to hear your thoughts, because your feedback helps shape what we cover next. Have a great Halloween night, enjoy the games, and I'll see you in the next one.